So here's how you raise the quality of the power of your words. Here's how you increase the power of your words and the power of your words to create concerted action, coordinated action among others. And that's why you're a leader, is because you want to get other people on board with your project, whether you're raising money or you just want some customers. All these things happen in the realm of words and language. So we want to create a really strong alignment. And the first challenge is that we're not so aligned with ourselves. And this is why when I have people do the leader story exercise, when they're done writing it, I have them read it to themselves. Because as I say, a lot, we're our worst critics. And so what we say about ourselves to ourselves is usually not so nice, unless you've really looked at it and you begin to heal, like, where did these unloving thoughts and feelings come from? And you don't have to know exactly, but the first thing is just to observe that they happen. And pretty much every human being, unless they've done an awful lot of work, will have unloving thoughts and feelings. Now, of course, we don't want the other person to know that. So we try to hide it. So what we say about ourselves to ourselves, usually not so nice. Then what we say about ourselves to other people, well, we want to puff ourselves up because that's survival mode. I mean, you can think of the two of the main aspects of, survival individually and then survival of the species. So when we're thinking of our own safety, let's say you're walking down the street and then you see some guy walking the other way, and maybe it's dark and you're a little afraid. So what you do, you kind of want to puff up, you want to pretend to be more powerful than you think that you are. So it's a pretense, or the kind of jargon is inauthenticity. And human beings are great at that. We're always trying to fake the other person out, right? So why? Because survival. And then the other thing is procreation. So, that drive is so strong. And, generally what we'll say or do anything to have sex, at least in the beginning. And so, I'm saying, because nature doesn't really care too much about you once you've, had children. It's like you did your basic biological job. So does nature really care, whether you were honest and, laid out all your cards and explained what a terrible person you were? Or would nature rather have you kind of focus on the positive until you get the goal? So that's what we do. That's like normal life, where we are hiding how we feel about ourselves, trying to project a positive, image in order to get the goodies or to be safe. But then there's a third thing. So we've covered what you say about yourself to yourself. What do you say about yourself to others? These are usually totally different things. And then what do other people think and say about you? Because the thing is, at a very animal level, other people can pretty much tell when you're faking. When you're trying to cover up something, it gets kind of obvious. And maybe they don't get it totally on. It's like, oh, he's lying or he's trying to pretend something, but it's just a lower quality when you're sending out your thoughts and your feelings, you're projecting those, and you yourself aren't even aligned. Then they're floppy. They don't have a lot of direct energy. So how they're received by the other person, if it's too out of alignment, they're just going to go, I don't know, and then that's why people are saying no to you. You're trying to raise some money or whatever, and they're saying no to you, and you can't figure out why. It's because that quality of leadership, that quality of consistent conviction isn't there. And then the final thing is what we say to ourselves about the world and also to others. And this can be, these are kind of major frameworks that somehow percolate out through the words we use. And I was mentoring one of my students yesterday, and he's got a cool project. It involves AI. I'm on board. I think it's awesome. But he was saying, somewhere along the way, he said, well, AI might be used for good. It could be used for evil. And I'm looking at that, and that's the kind of thing that we'll say because we're bringing this worldview, and that worldview is really talking. It's like, well, there's good, there's evil, and I'm not trying to say there's not good or evil, but why would we want to talk about that in, say, our presentation? We're trying to raise money, and I said, are you okay with me kind of picking on your words, kind of pointing some stuff out? And he was, which is great, because being coachable is, when you're coachable and you can listen to what I have to say about these things, you can just transform almost on the spot. And I said, well, first of all, just think of the word evil as a energy packet. And there's really no way to say that word without people kind of now deflecting away from what you're talking about and beginning to think about evil in their lives or in the world and all their fears. And when you're trying to bring alignment, the idea is to make the goal and the possibility of attaining this future goal more attractive than the risks of trying. So when you just use that kind of word in your language for no particular reason, except to try to do what? Try to get approval, try to show people I'm not evil, I'm not going to try to do evil. But people don't, when it comes to leadership, approval seeking doesn't work. Trying to please other people actually doesn't work. What people want to see is that you're convicted. When I say convicted, I mean you have a conviction. You're not in jail. You're committed. You're committed to your goal. You're focused on that. If they want to join along for the party, they're invited, but it's not like you're going to try to wiggle around and come up with tricky words in order to get them to give you money. And so I'd say that was a really good example. And you can see in your own language that all words have their own energy profile, every single word. Now, I don't want you to go nuts, like examining, what about the word, I or to be or all these things. You can look, you can upgrade the quality of almost every word that you're using in some way. But really the main thing to upgrade is what you say to yourself about yourself. That's the first place to start, is to start healing those discrepancies between what you say to yourself about yourself and what you say to others about yourself. You bring that in alignment, the rest gets a lot easier. And so, now when you're getting these things in alignment, and then, I'm giving you these sort of 4 touch points because you can take responsibility for all of these things. And if you see some of the best leaders or people on YouTube, they've got lots of haters. And I say, well, Mark, what about all these people that they have all these haters? Aren't they must be doing something wrong because they're saying stuff that so many people hate. And my teacher really explained this to me. He said, well, I had a choice, because he had a lot of haters too. And most of us don't even lead. We don't want to get out and lead because we're basically afraid of what other people will say. That's approval seeking. And to be a leader means to basically move beyond fear as the main driver of your actions, which a lot of us, we live from safety is the main, it's such a big thing. So anyway, my teacher said, well, I had a choice. I could either sort of speak quietly and build a small following with everybody who loves me. And he said, or I could really project myself out in the world. And so I knew when I decided to be a leader at, kind of at the world scale, that there were a lot of people who weren't going to like me. And so I'm responsible for those people not liking me. I did that. I'm okay with that. And a lot of that's really the essence of leadership, is like, because you're going to get ahead of the crowd. At the beginning, the early adopters are going to get what you're saying. With other people, it's like wait and see. Other people are afraid. Other people are going to say you're some kind of a con man. And like, that's the result of putting yourself out there. And you can take responsibility for that. It's like, yes, I'm putting myself out there. I'm inviting people to have discordance with me. That's the, really for almost any project that you want to do that's beyond sitting in front of your computer and, trying to day trade. We're not talking to anybody. Anything beyond that, you're in communication. Like, everyone's a leader. I have another video on that. You can look it up, but we're all leaders because every day we're using our words to create some kind of situation, whether it's just, asking somebody at the grocery store where's the spaghetti. We're using our words to try to create some kind of social interaction. So being a leader means taking responsibility for that power that we have, looking to increase the power, looking to increase the alignment between your vision and others, and finally even taking responsibility for the way other people see you. And also, the world is the way it is. And as a leader, you want to create a future condition. And, we focus on that first. There are a lot of problems in the world. Which ones do we want to work on? And let's focus on that. Let's not focus on all the stuff that we're not focused on, like that we don't have any intention to fix. It's so easy to complain. Politics is like number one. Complain about a politician. That's like the easiest thing in the world to do. But what are you doing? Do you want to be a politician? Like, a long time ago, I decided, it's like, in a way, I kind of wish I had the power of being a president. But at the same time, it's like, well, if you want to be the president of the United States, you've got to be okay with killing people. Like, that's part of the job, is deciding who lives and dies. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to be in that job. And so, because I'm committed to what my teacher called soft power, right? Because when you're saying, well, I'm going to kill people I don't like, now you're relying on force to get your leadership done. And I thought, there's plenty of people who are doing that. I want to see if I can just be a purely peace-based leader. And a lot of that journey has been getting to be more and more at peace with myself. So those are some examples of the power of your word. And the student, he said, oh, you mean, so really you can use your words to evoke different kinds of resonance in different parts of people's brain. And yes, that's true. We don't always speak to the mind. Maybe we're speaking to somebody's heart, or we're speaking to their sense of compassion, like all these different areas that are not really even part of the mind per se. Because we want to resonate the higher, in peace-based leadership, we want to call on the higher qualities of being a human being, being a human being, like compassion, like forgiveness, and these high quality, these beautiful things about being a human that are way beyond basic survival. Can we create beauty in the world? Yes, you can look around and see people do. Can we create more? That's really, to me, the game. So thanks for listening, and be sure to leave any questions you have below about the power of your words, and I'll answer them.